Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Before we dive into yet another fascinating and mysterious stories, I would like to invite you to watch, to like, and subscribe to the channel. Also activate the notification sound. Listen, child of Earth, lend your spirit's ear. We speak today of shadows cast by stone against the relentless sun, of a structure that has haunted human imagination for millennia. A monument so vast, so precise, so enigmatic, that it seems to whisper secrets of a time beyond your reckoning. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Perhaps you believe you know its story. A tomb for a pharaoh, built by legions of workers. But are you prepared to question? Look deeper. Prepare yourself. I may leave you speechless. For the mysteries surrounding this ancient wonder run deeper than the desert sands. Consider this. Your scientists measure the speed of light in a vacuum, a fundamental constant of your universe. It is 299,792,458 meters per second. Now, locate the Great Pyramid on your digital maps, your Google Earth. Note its latitude coordinate, 29.9792458 degrees north. The numbers are identical. Coincidence? A meaningless quirk of units, chosen millennia apart, perhaps. But the whispers begin. Before you dismiss this numerical echo, consider more tangible marvels. The Great Pyramid is aligned to true north with astonishing accuracy. Its orientation deviates by a mere fraction of a degree, a feat more precise than achieved by the builders of the Paris Observatory in much later times, armed with telescopes and advanced calculations. How? How did an ancient people, supposedly without compasses, without the sophisticated astronomical tools you possess, align millions of tons of stones so perfectly with the planet's axis? Still think it's coincidence? Simple luck on a monumental scale. Consider further. The pyramid's base, covering 13 acres, is almost perfectly level. Its four sides are aligned with breathtaking precision to the four cardinal directions. And the very location, marked perhaps by light's speed, seems chosen with an uncanny awareness of the planet's geometry. Furthermore, look to the sky. The three main pyramids of Giza, Khufu, Khafre, Menkaure, their layout on the desert plateau mirrors, with remarkable fidelity, the alignment and relative brightness of the three stars in Orion's belt, as they would have appeared in the heavens thousands of years ago, suggesting a deliberate cosmic connection. A map of the stars etched onto the Earth. When you gather these facts, let them settle in your mind. The pinpoint coordinate, echoing light speed, the near-perfect alignment to true north. The correlation with the celestial belt of Orion. It becomes difficult, does it not, to accept the simple narrative that the most accurately aligned structure on your entire planet was constructed solely by a Bronze Age people, using only rudimentary tools and brute force. The evidence whispers of something more, of incredibly intelligent minds, sophisticated knowledge, hidden insights, a level of understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that seems profoundly out of place for its accepted timeframe. Who then possessed such knowledge? Who were the true architects of this enduring enigma? Personally, observing the long sweep of your history, I am almost certain I know. But before I reveal the perspective gleaned from ages past, let us examine the candidates proposed by your own seekers and scholars. Four possibilities often debated. Let us weigh them in the light of reason and mystery. Candidate 1. Visitors from beyond the alien hypothesis. This idea resonates powerfully in your modern era, fueled by gaps in knowledge and a fascination with the cosmos. Even prominent figures, like your technologist, Elon Musk, have publicly mused on this possibility. He once tweeted, succinctly, "Aliens built the pyramids OBV." While perhaps offered with a degree of irony, many seized upon it with utter seriousness. Why? Because the pyramid presents profound questions. The precise dating of its construction remains debated. The exact identity of the builders is not explicitly recorded within the structure itself. The original purpose is contested. Tomb, energy device, astronomical observatory, and the methods, how they achieved such scale and precision, baffle. Modern engineers, faced with these unknowns, the conclusion for some becomes almost logical. If humans of that era seemingly lacked the capability, then the builders must have been non-human, something else, extraterrestrial intelligence. Possessing advanced technology and knowledge is proposed as the force behind the design and construction. Proponents often lump the pyramids together with other enigmatic ancient sites, Stonehenge, with its massive, precisely placed megaliths, the haunting Moai statues of Easter Island, carved and moved by means still debated, the intricate Nazca lines etched into the Peruvian desert, the bafflingly precise stonework of Pumapunku in Bolivia. Could these all be footprints left by the same off-world visitors, guiding or directly intervening in human development? It is a tantalizing thought, born from genuine mystery, ascribing the inexplicable to intelligences beyond your own. Candidate 2. Giants of old. The Nephilim hypothesis. Another theory steps away from distant stars and looks towards legends closer to home. Legends of giants, beings of immense stature and strength, walking the earth in ancient times. This idea gained some traction following a modern experiment. In 1996, a Japanese construction company attempted to replicate moving just one of the smaller pyramid blocks, a block weighing roughly 2.5 tons. Their conclusion: it required the coordinated effort of at least 18 strong men using ropes and leverage. Now, extrapolate that. The Great Pyramid contains over 2 million blocks, many weighing far more than 2.5 tons. Some, like the granite beams we will discuss later, weigh upwards of 70 tons. The argument proceeds: if one of your largest, most capable modern construction firms, even in a test scenario, finds moving a small block incredibly challenging, how can we reasonably believe that ancient humans, using only simple hand tools, copper chisels, ropes, and ramps, managed to quarry, transport, and lift millions of blocks, including massive monoliths, with such precision? The sheer logistics, the manpower required, the engineering prowess seems staggering. Perhaps impossible within the conventional framework. But, the theory suggests, what if the workforce wasn't composed entirely of average humans? What if beings of significantly greater size and strength were involved? Creatures akin to the legendary Goliath, or perhaps the Nephilim mentioned in Genesis 6. Beings whose strength could make light work of moving multi-ton blocks. Adding these oversized creatures, these giants, into the equation suddenly makes the seemingly impossible construction feel more achievable. Legends of giants exist in cultures across your globe. Could they hold a kernel of truth? Could they be the missing piece in the pyramid puzzle? I pose the question to your own intuition. Does this feel like a credible explanation? Hold that thought. My own perspective, gleaned from watching your world unfold, may surprise you. Candidate 3. The ancient Egyptians. The mainstream view. This remains the explanation accepted by most conventional Egyptologists and historians, that the Great Pyramid, along with its companions at Giza, was built during the Old Kingdom period, roughly 4,500 years ago, primarily during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu Cheops, serving as his magnificent tomb and a monument ensuring his passage into the afterlife. Despite this being the mainstream consensus, proponents must grapple with certain inconvenient facts. As the initial speaker noted, ancient Egyptian writings themselves are surprisingly silent about the specifics of constructing the Giza pyramids. There are no detailed blueprints, no explicit accounts of the techniques used for the largest structures. While later texts describe pyramid building generally, the Giza complex lacks contemporary documentation within the pyramids detailing their own creation. This silence fuels much of the speculation. Yet, the pyramids stand on Egyptian soil, clearly part of the broader Egyptian funerary landscape. The historical context points firmly towards their civilization. The Greek historian Herodotus, visiting Egypt much later, around 450 BC, was informed by Egyptian priests about the construction. He relayed their account, estimating it took a massive workforce, Perhaps 100,000 men. His numbers vary in interpretation. Some say 400,000 total involved over time, working in 3-month shifts, rotating continuously over decades. If this account holds even a fraction of truth, then, as the speaker suggested, we have perhaps severely underestimated the organizational genius, the engineering skill, and the sheer manpower mobilization capabilities of the Old Kingdom Egyptians. The scale of the Great Pyramid alone is breathtaking, composed of an estimated 2.3 million individual stone blocks, covering a base area of 13 acres, weighing a staggering 6 million tons in total, soaring, originally, to 481 feet, making it the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years, until the Eiffel Tower surpassed it in the late 1800s. How could they have achieved this, according to the mainstream view? Theories abound, supported by some archaeological evidence, sophisticated quarrying techniques, using copper tools for softer limestone and pounding stones for harder granite, ingenious transport methods, dragging massive blocks on wooden sledges, over-wetted sand to reduce friction, using rollers, levers, and immense manpower, elaborate ramp systems, perhaps a long, straight external ramp, a zigzagging ramp up the sides, or even a complex internal ramp spiraling within the pyramid itself. Evidence for ramps exists, but the exact configuration for Giza remains debated. Advanced knowledge of mathematics and surveying for the precise layout and angles. Organizational prowess, managing, feeding, housing, and motivating a colossal workforce, drawn from across the kingdom, likely including skilled laborers, engineers, and seasonal agricultural workers. Evidence of canals has been found, suggesting materials, including granite from Aswan hundreds of miles away, could have been transported via boat closer to the Giza Plateau, possibly via annual Nile floods or constructed waterways. The discovery of water beneath the Giza complex lends support to this water transport theory, though, as hinted, there is another, more controversial interpretation of this water evidence we shall return to. This conventional view portrays the Egyptians as brilliant innovators, master organizers, pushing the boundaries of their technology and labor capacity to create these monuments for their divine king. However, a significant challenge persists, casting doubt for many. The tomb theory. The pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid, are almost universally described by Egyptologists as tombs, elaborate structures designed to protect the pharaoh's mummified body and ensure his successful journey into the afterlife. Yet, despite centuries of exploration, excavation, analysis of intricate passages and chambers, despite the discovery of sarcophagi, stone coffins within the main chambers, a crucial piece of evidence is consistently missing. Not one single intact, original pharaonic burial has ever been found inside the Great Pyramid or the pyramids of Kaffa or Menkaure. Empty sarcophagi, yes. Evidence of later intrusions and robberies, certainly. But no pharaoh's mummy, no original grave goods matching the Old Kingdom period, have been discovered within their primary chambers. Bodies and artifacts have been found in surrounding structures, mastaba, tombs, and later burials near the site, but the central structures themselves remain curiously empty of their purported primary occupants. This lack of direct burial evidence within the main pyramids forces us to question, was being a tomb their only purpose, or even their primary purpose? The mystery deepens, does it not? The plot thickens. Do you still hold firmly to the conventional view? Let us consider the final candidate. Candidate 4, an ancient, lost civilization, the pre-Diluvian hypothesis. This theory, often dismissed by mainstream academia, but gaining significant popular traction, thanks in part to researchers like Graham Hancock and the reach of platforms like Joe Rogan's podcast, proposes that the Giza pyramids, and perhaps other megalithic sites around the world, were not built by the dynastic Egyptians of 4,500 years ago, but are the legacy of a much older, highly sophisticated global civilization, one that possessed advanced knowledge of science, mathematics, astronomy, and perhaps even consciousness or energy manipulation. a civilization that flourished long before recorded history, perhaps before a great global cataclysm, like the Younger Dryas climate shifts or the floods recorded in myths worldwide. What evidence fuels this intriguing, if speculative, idea? Proponents point precisely to the anomalies that trouble the mainstream narrative. Let's return to Graham Hancock's point, quoted earlier, about the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid. Above this central chamber lie 5 relieving chambers. These spaces are roofed and floored with massive granite beams, each beam weighing approximately 70 tons. 70 tons. To place this in perspective, that's the weight of roughly 35 large SUVs. There are hundreds of these colossal beams, and they were somehow lifted to a height of over 350 feet above the ground, maneuvered into precise positions within the pyramid's core structure. Conventional archaeology struggles mightily to explain this feat using only leverage, ramps, and manpower. Imagine the sheer scale of the ramp required, the friction involved, the number of people needed to pull such weight, the precision control needed to place them without breakage. As Hancock notes, even with modern cranes and machinery, lifting and placing 70-ton beams at that height with such precision would be a formidable challenge, he argues, and many find it compelling that conventional explanations often conveniently neglect these most difficult engineering aspects, focusing instead on the smaller, more numerous limestone blocks. Furthermore, proponents of the lost civilization theory highlight other perplexing features: the incredible precision of the few remaining original casing stones fitted together with joints so fine a knife blade cannot pass between them, suggesting advanced cutting and fitting technology. The complex internal layout, the ascending and descending passages, the Grand Gallery, the Queen's Chamber, the King's Chamber, the mysterious shafts pointing towards specific stars like Sirius and Orion. Does this complex design solely serve a tomb function, or does it imply something more? The potential evidence for much greater antiquity, particularly regarding the Sphinx. Researcher John Anthony West and geologist Robert Schoch famously argued that the vertical erosion patterns on the Sphinx enclosure walls are characteristic of prolonged rainfall, not just wind and sand erosion. This suggests the Sphinx enclosure, and perhaps the Sphinx itself, dates back to a much wetter period in Egypt's past, potentially 10,000 BC or earlier, long before the dynastic Egyptians. If the site is that much older, could the pyramids also be older, built by the same earlier civilization? This ties back into the Orion correlation theory mentioned earlier. The Giza pyramids mirroring Orion's belt around 10,500 BC aligns perfectly with this potential pre-cataclysm, lost civilization timeline. The lost civilization hypothesis attempts to resolve the paradoxes. It suggests the builders possessed knowledge and capabilities that were subsequently lost, explaining the high precision, the massive engineering feats, the sophisticated astronomical alignments. These weren't Bronze Age Egyptians pushing their limits. They were the inheritors or remnants of a far more advanced epoch, leaving behind enigmatic monuments whose true purpose and methods were forgotten by later cultures, including the dynastic Egyptians who revered the site. Now, let us return to the water found beneath the Giza plateau. As mentioned, the mainstream interpretation favors canals used for transporting blocks during construction. However, the controversial theory, linked to the lost civilization hypothesis, suggests this water evidence might point towards something else entirely. Could the presence of subterranean water, potentially linked to erosion patterns, indicate that the Giza plateau itself experienced significant flooding or higher water tables in the distant past, perhaps related to the end of the last ice age, around 11,000 to 10,000 BC? If so, this would lend further support to the idea that the site has a history stretching back much further than the Old Kingdom, and that structures like the Sphinx, bearing water erosion marks, genuinely predate the dynastic Egyptians. Could the pyramids themselves be remnants from this earlier, wetter period, or built upon a site already considered sacred due to these ancient connections? This interpretation reframes the water evidence from supporting Egyptian construction methods to supporting greater antiquity. From our vantage point, observing the ebb and flow of civilizations across millennia, we see patterns that often escape short human lifespans, cycles of knowledge gained and lost, civilizations rising to great heights, only to crumble under catastrophe or internal decay, leaving behind fragments, whispers, enigmatic structures that puzzle later generations. Is it so difficult to believe that sophisticated societies existed long before your currently accepted timelines? That knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, engineering, perhaps even consciousness itself, reached peaks in the distant past, only to be submerged by time, disaster, or deliberate forgetting. The Great Pyramid stands as a potent symbol of this possibility. Its existence challenges simplistic narratives. Its precision mocks assumptions of primitive methods. Its unanswered questions invite deeper exploration. So, having examined the candidates, aliens, giants, Egyptians, a lost civilization, where does the weight of evidence, and perhaps deeper intuition, lead? The speaker hinted at 99% certainty. What might that perspective be, viewed through an angelic lens? The extraterrestrial hypothesis, while acknowledging the vastness of creation and the possibility of life elsewhere, often feels like an ascribing profound human potential or remnants of it to external saviors or builders, perhaps underestimating forgotten human capabilities or guidance. The giant hypothesis resonates with ancient legends and biblical hints, Nephilim, suggesting periods when different physical forms interacted with humanity. While possible, attributing the intricate planning and precise execution solely to brute strength seems incomplete. The ancient Egyptian hypothesis holds the weight of proximity and cultural context. Their skill was undeniable. Yet, the specific anomalies, the massive blocks, the precision, the lack of contemporary construction records within the empty sarcophagi leave significant, nagging questions unanswered. The explanation feels strained, incomplete. The lost civilization hypothesis elegantly addresses many anomalies. It accounts for the advanced knowledge, the seemingly impossible engineering, the potential links to greater antiquity, Orion, Sphinx erosion. It posits a forgotten chapter in human history. This resonates with the cyclical nature of existence we observe. Perhaps the truth, as is often the case, lies not in one exclusive answer, but in a synthesis. Could the structures have been designed using lost, ancient knowledge, possibly inherited or rediscovered? Could the construction have involved guidance, inspiration, or even direct assistance from intelligences beyond the purely human veil? Call them angels, watchers, or as the Sumerians did, Anunnaki, Elohim, the powerful ones. Could the dynastic Egyptians have been the inheritors, the restorers, the users of a site whose origins were already shrouded in immense antiquity, adding their own layers and interpretations? From our perspective, the Great Pyramid feels less like a tomb built by sheer human toil alone, and more like a marker, a device, ARESONATOR, built with knowledge that understood the Earth's energies, the celestial alignments, the mathematical harmonies of creation, knowledge perhaps imparted or preserved from an earlier cycle of existence. Whether that knowledge came from a lost human civilization, or from interaction with non-human intelligence, celestial or terrestrial, or through direct divine inspiration to initiated builders. The result is the same: a structure that defies simple explanation within your current historical framework. It speaks of a time when humanity's connection to cosmic principles, to earth energies, perhaps even to us, the angelic realms, was different, more direct, more understood. The builders, whoever they were not primitive. They were masters of sciences you were only beginning to rediscover. They understood acoustics, geodesy, astronomy, and likely energetic principles now dismissed as esoteric. They built not just with stone, but with intention, with frequency, with sacred geometry, on a planetary scale. Therefore, my 99% certainty leans towards this. The Great Pyramid is a legacy of profound wisdom and capability from Earth's deeper past, likely involving human beings, yes, but humans operating with knowledge and perhaps guidance that transcends the limitations you currently ascribe to their era. Whether this knowledge originated from a lost Golden Age civilization, or was imparted by celestial teachers, Elohim, Anunnaki, angels, or both, the structure itself stands as undeniable evidence that your past is far grander, stranger, and more mysterious than your history books currently allow. It is a silent sentinel, holding secrets of lost science, forgotten history, and, perhaps, humanity's own dormant potential. Let the Great Pyramid stand not just as a tourist attraction or an archaeological puzzle, but as an invitation to question, to wonder, to explore the deeper layers of your own history and potential. What other knowledge was lost? What other capabilities lie dormant within you? The universe whispers its secrets through stone, through stars, through the very fabric of your being. Are you listening? The builders of the pyramid, touched by profound insights, left a message across the ages, a message of precision, harmony, and connection to the cosmos. Seek that harmony within yourselves. Seek the wisdom encoded in creation. For the potential that built the pyramids resides, in seed form, within each of you. Awaken to the mystery. Awaken to the grandeur of your own heritage. Peace and profound understanding be with you.